Hello, it's Bob Nelms. One of the most life-changing experiences I've ever had was while working at Morton Thiokol in the winter of 1986. I was working there as a root cause analysis consultant when the Challenger exploded, and I was there when the incident was being investigated. Because I was there, I suppose, I became more engrossed than most people in the causes of the event. And I'll tell you, this one event singularly ripped me out of my purely engineering shell and thrust me into the realm of the human being. I don't have time to share the whole story in this short vlog, but I would like to challenge you with a few questions to help you understand some of the underlying causes of the event. I'll ask you 7 questions. Please ask yourselves if you can relate to any of these questions. And in addition, as I share these questions, please ask yourselves what it is that really causes our problems. Specifically, is it systems that cause our problems, or is it us? Here's the first of the 7 questions. Have you ever gone forward with any kind of endeavor in spite of an anomaly popping up that you didn't quite understand? That's what they did with the shuttle O-rings. But what about you? For example, have you ever heard a noise in your car that you never heard before, but drove the car anyway? Ever? Or have you ever been called unreasonable in the past and were in the midst of trying to correct that impression when another situation occurred where all the players were ready to go except yourself? In other words, have you ever tried being reasonable in a risky situation? You know, I wonder what it means even to be reasonable. Have you ever gone by the book, even when you were suspicious that the book was not good enough in this instance? Because after all, if anything does go wrong, you can point back to the book and say, I was only following procedure. Ever? What about this one? Tell me you haven't done this. Have you ever done something risky because you did it before and got away with it? I can instantly think of dozens of examples where I have done this. What about you? Experts call this the normalization of deviation. I call it the slippery slope. Or what about this? Have you ever ignored your gut feelings when they told you to be more careful, even though the data said you were okay? You know, I wish I could see your faces when I read these, and I also wish you'd dwell on each of these a long time, because almost all of us are guilty of almost all of these. These are the kinds of things that caused the Challenger disaster. By the way, are these system-type causes, or are they more related to the way we are as human beings? And we're not finished yet. There's a few more questions I'd like to ask you. For example, what do you do when you ask someone for their advice and you don't like their answer? Do you ever argue with them or try to change their minds? Why? Why ask in the first place if you're not willing to hear the answer? Now let's turn it around. What do you do when someone asks you a question and they don't like your answer? Do you back down and let them persuade you that they are right after all? And before you say, "No, I'd never do that," let me ask you this. What if it was your boss or the client who said something like, "Either change your answer or we'll find someone else"? What would you do? Because that's what happened with the challenger. So here's the point. Are any of the things I've mentioned system-type causes? You know, procedures, or checklists, or workflow kind of things? That's what most root cause analysis methods suggest, that our problems are caused by our systems. Is that true? Nah. NASA and their contractors probably had the best systems in the world, and look at what happened in spite of their systems. Because it's not our systems that cause our problems. It's us. It's our attitudes, our beliefs, our assumptions, our tendencies. Each of us, all of us. The only way to avoid big problems is for each of us to learn about ourselves from the small problems in our lives. We're here to help in that journey. Please be in touch. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week.